Good morning, this is Dr. Bill Wyatt again with the American Orthodontic Society, and I would like to talk with you this morning about changing lives, how things can be changed. And we have such a short time here on this earth, and I have been privileged in living longer than maybe a lot of people, but even though I've been here this much longer, it feels like it's just a short time that I've been here. And I hate to leave, but we're going to all leave one way or the other. So wanted to tell about things doing that if we can change people's lives for the best, it makes life for us a much better thing. I mean, if we can just make it better for as many people as you possibly can. And so I've been privileged in doing orthodontics and working with the jaw joint and helping people get out of pain and also making them look better and bringing their teeth around. And it reminded me of I had an aunt one time, was a pretty lady, but her teeth were very crooked. And this was when I was just a little boy. And I remember how happy she was when she was able to go and have her teeth pulled and have her set of nice dentures in there, and she looked so much better with those, though chewing was probably a lot worse than everything else. So taking somebody and working on their teeth, making them look better, and if they've got any problem with their jaw joint back here, work on it, learn how to do that. And that is joined on with the teeth, the head of the condyles, part of the lower jaw back here. And you can't say that I'm going to just straighten teeth and ignore this. This is not the way to do it. And we can do people's teeth as long as they live. There's just a lot of things that we can correct on the way people think about orthodontics. They thought it was just for kids, but it's not. It's for everybody. I mean, you can have your teeth straightened. But let's get on with this. I took this lady several years ago, and she had a pretty bad problem with her teeth. Let me get this up, and I'm going to draw on here. This is her, just the way her face looks after we finished up. And this is straight on, and here she is smiling after we have finished her teeth. And this is where she's biting. These are her lower teeth, and they're biting up, and they meet right underneath the upper teeth here. You can't see it looking up from here, but I've stuck this mirror in her mouth, and it shows you where they meet. And when you finish somebody, you have to have it lined up meeting there. Now this tooth is off a little bit right here, but that's all right. That doesn't bother her. Your attention won't let it go off any further than that. And we took this lady, and here are her teeth, the way she looked. I mean, she had a deep closed bite. And you can change that. I mean, don't do this. So many people haven't learned any orthodontics, and they don't know. I remember going to New York one time and listening to a national speaker talk, and he showed, at least he knew that if he could bring the jaw forward, they would stop hurting. So he took somebody with a closed bite like this, and he moved their jaw forward, and their joints stopped hurting. And then he crowned all of the person's back teeth, so that he did not know orthodontics. I was just I wanted to get up and tell the man, learn some orthodontics. You can bring these teeth up right here, and you can bring these in the back, your lower teeth down, and then your jaw can move forward, and you won't have to have any crowns on any teeth, and it'll fix the jaw joint where it'll stay better. Now we took this lady back with this woman right here. That's the way it looked when we started, and I'm just going to show you what we had when we finished. I've got a video on her, everything we did on it, and if you want to look it up, but I'm just going to show you. We got this finished to this, and there she is. After we had worked on it, we raised these teeth up and we pushed these teeth down, and then we got the jaw to slide forward a little bit and corrected that problem. And then all the teeth back in here, she had a crown. We messed, this crown was kind of bad when we started, and she had it redone. And these over here, these are some things that were done that were dark, but we fixed this up where you wouldn't see this. Now let's look at the side. Now this, she bit down. Actually, she brought her jaw further out, but the upper tooth is catching the lower tooth back here, and this tooth is hitting. She had no teeth in here. We moved this forward. We used the wisdom teeth. We straightened this tooth up, and we had a tooth that filled in. And when you got through with her, all she needed was one implant on one side. We took the teeth in the back of the mouth and brought those teeth up and filled in the gaps back here. And this is adult orthodontics, and there's just a world of this orthodontics out there, and it's not being taught in these universities that I can find. They just want to ignore this and act like you can only straighten people's teeth up to about 18 or 20 or something like this, and this is not true. I think people have been taught that till they get to where they think that's the fact, but it isn't. You can straighten people's teeth as long as they're living. I don't care how old they are or what it is. If they've got some bone good on the teeth and everything, you can move them up. Now, so we'll stop that. So that is the way people are thinking, but it's wrong. It's really wrong. They've been taught that. And nearly everybody in the world thinks your teeth can't be moved after you get 20 or 30 years old. And you can move your teeth. You can separate the palate even up into your 40-some by using force correctly. And we're trying to correct that everywhere. And thank goodness for YouTube and the ability to go throughout the world and put this out. I tried to get the people in the orthodontic school where I went to school to teach everybody that's working on teeth about orthodontics. They don't have to do it, just know it can be done. And to teach those that want to learn it. And they said, well, they wouldn't do this. They're not interested in that. They wanted to do, they just teach the younger people. And now this is most of the schools. And I have some wonderful friends who are orthodontics, and they have helped me over the years in many ways. But just remember, you can do it. And so if you know you can do it, you see it done, then you can, you know you can do something like this. Now we straighten this tooth up, we brought this one back, fill that gap up here, and let me just show you how it looked. after we got through with this case. Now, it didn't take all that long to do it either. We did it in about 2.5 years. And we got the cuspid coming down the right place, the bicuspid, and these are the molars back here. And these teeth, we have a good overjet and overbite here. And when this woman bites a hamburger or a sandwich, she opens her mouth and her jaw will slide forward and she can bite it off. These teeth don't touch back in the back, and the head of the condyle moves out of the fossa up here. It kind of separates, so when you bite on your front teeth, your back teeth don't hit. And that's the way it should be. And when you do that, you don't realize you put all the load on your disc back here in the back. When you bite your teeth down here with 10 pounds, there's more than 20 or 30 pounds on this disc that is still alive in my mouth, and I'm 95 and got 2 months into 96 even, and it's still functioning back here. So we'll get back on to the program we were talking about here, changing lives. Now here on this side, when this lady closed her mouth, her upper teeth were back here, her lower tooth is hitting here. She can't move her jaw forward. So she had to bite up here, and these teeth didn't fit good like that. And this guy that I went to New York didn't realize that, he didn't know that. And so he moved the jaw out. If he was having pain up here, by moving the jaw out, it brings this condyle out of the fossa, and it gets it off of this retrodiscal tissue. And people, that is 90% of the pain and everything comes from this retrodiscal tissue that is highly vascular. And you get it damaged, and you keep using it and hitting it, and it'll just hurt you all over your head, your shoulders, your neck, and you have pain, and people have looked for other reasons rather than looking at the jaw joint to correct it. Now, so by picking these teeth up and bringing them out like that, and changing this overjet, we were able to bring the jaw forward, and even if she had had some jaw pain, it went away. Here's a wisdom tooth in here, and we were planning, or they wanted to take it out. We didn't take it out. We moved these teeth forward in here. Now, they'll tell you that you can't move a tooth into a knife edge. In other words, if you extract a tooth and you have this cortical bone, the hard bone is out on the side of the tooth. And if you just let it sit there for months, this cortical bone moves together and finally comes in, and you have what we call a knife edge ridge of bone between those teeth. And they were saying you can't move a tooth in there because the cortical bone's in front of it. That's wrong. You can move the tooth. The bone structure on this tooth will be still there. And I'll go and show you that on here. And then we're going to take this wisdom tooth and put it up under. We'll move this one over here, and this one will come up. This tooth will be under this one, and then this wisdom tooth will come in underneath that. Now there is that side in the mouth. This can be done. Now this tooth here that was hitting, we raised this, we went down with these, and we were able to move the jaw forward. Now the cuspid is in the correct position, the bicuspids. We had to add bicuspids on top of molars, so this bite here is different. And this is that wisdom tooth back here in the back of the mouth, came in and filled in that gap. This can be done. And I hope that I leave this world and that people will know this. And if you are an orthodontist or you're a person wanting to learn orthodontics, study these things. And you can take, if you want to get your teeth worked on correctly, take these pictures and show them to the whoever's working on them and tell them what you want done with your teeth. I had to quit working when I was 88 years old, and then I started doing these videos. And thank God we had YouTube where you could do this, and this goes out to everybody. I wish I could see your faces out there and talk to you. And encourage dentists to learn orthodontics. And pediatric dentists, it is a shame they don't teach pediatric dentists how to do orthodontics, and they need to do little bits of orthodontics while the child is growing up, and they don't do that. And I wanted to get this changed, where pediatric dentists would be taught to do this type of orthodontics. So I hope that whoever's listening to this, or whoever sees it, and if you're in the part of pediatric dentistry where you make the decisions on this, teach pediatric dentists, for God's sakes, how to do orthodontics, so they do the little bits along. The only way they do it is 3 or 4 pediatric dentists would hire an orthodontist. Well, the orthodontist isn't trained in preventive interceptive orthodontics. They have to show him what to do. You know, some of them aren't. Now some of them can be. So I want this to take place. When I'm gone from this earth, I hope pediatric dentists will be taught to do orthodontics. It is absolutely ridiculous that they aren't. Now, let's go on to the next side. We're looking down on the bottom teeth in here, and they have a funny arch, and we're going to change this. We're going to straighten all this out, and this is the side we're going to move these teeth up, move these back whatever space we need, and then the rest of it, and we got a wisdom tooth. I'm sorry we changed over here to that. Let me get this back going again. All right. Excuse me, I'm going to have to pause this for a minute. And okay, maybe we're back in business again now. We're going to change this part right in here. I got my finger in the wrong spot back there, and it changed the pictures. So I'll have to go back, and I'll have to get this thing moving again. Now we changed that, and we straightened those teeth out. We bonded a wire in here to hold these teeth in place, and she still has that, and she may keep it for years. I don't know. This is not the finished product here, but this is the way the lower teeth looked. Now there's the upper teeth, and here's where the lower teeth were biting into this and wearing this down, and they couldn't bring the jaw forward. And they were planning to do a bunch of bridges and implants and all this, and we just moved these teeth together and used the wisdom teeth in the back, and you can do that as long as you live. So people write up and ask and want to know, how long can you do that? You know, am I too old for my bone to move? Your teeth will move. I don't care if you're my age or not. I could have my teeth straightened at 95 if I wanted to, if I thought I was going to live that long. So I thank you for watching, and I want people to know this. And let's see what we did to these upper teeth. We went in and moved. That's the upper arch. Now, people say, well, you can't spread out, you can't enlarge the upper arch. My God, look at that. That's where it was. Look how narrow it was. And now we widen this out. We moved all this bone structure, moves with the teeth. You move them up here, and when you widen it, it doesn't make a dirt if they're 100 years old. If they're living and have a good bone, the teeth can be moved out in that position. And this ought to be taught in the dental schools. If dentists are being taught, show them what can be done orthodontically, and that helps their diagnosis of what they want to do to somebody. If you don't teach them what can be done, they diagnose the case wrong. I mean, they would tend to do this a tremendously different way. A lot of times it costs so much more to go in and put all these implants in. And these are wonderful things to do for them if that's what you got to have, and bridge them. But teach everybody that learns to work with teeth ought to know orthodontics, whether they want to do it or not. If they want to do it, let them do it. There's more orthodontics work out there. We will never get enough people there to do the adult orthodontics, and it ought to be taught in the orthodontic schools. And let's go back and look at this upper arch again. That's the same arch as this is. And I'm not pulling your leg. And this woman's 50 or something. I don't know exactly her age, but she's no 10 or 18 or 12-year-old person in here. This is an adult, and this is her bite when we started, and here it is after we finished. Now, here is the lady. This is all that I want to talk about, about changing lives on people. I am so upset with the problem that's going on in the Ukraine. One summer, we had 6 Ukrainian young men that were musicians stayed at our house. I taught orthodontics down in the basement out, and it went out looking over the lake. And I did that for 20 years. And those 6 Ukrainian people came and stayed at my house during the summer, and they went to various places singing, and they're carrying on their music and everything. And they were wonderful people. And I look at what's happening over there today, and it just tears me up. All the death and the sorrow and the things that are just being destroyed like that. And I want to tell Mr. Putin, stop this mess. Go back. Take your army back home. Make Russia a place people want to go to. I visited Russia while it was still a communist country. I mean, the whole thing before it broke down, and went over and looked at the medical stuff. It's a beautiful country, and you could make Russia a place people would want to come to, not have your young men wanting to run away from home to keep getting in the army like this. So, Mr. Putin, stop this mess and go back and make Russia a wonderful place. Then you will go down in history as a great person. And I am sorry for this disaster that has been taken place over in the Ukraine. Those wonderful people that are there. And they're wonderful Russian people. I've had them at my house, and they're nice. And I want you to do that. So please stop this war. And I'm going to end on that part. When you get my age, if you have a few more years left, lead Russia in a wonderful way. You have messed up Russia and you have messed up the Ukraine. And it is terrible what has taken place in there. So change it, and you can do that. So I'm begging you, please change this. And I'm going to hang up here and close this. And I'm sorry to bring this into orthodontics, but I've changed lives, helping people, and you can change thousands of lives rather than losing them. So please take that into consideration and stop this and make Russia a wonderful place. It is a beautiful country, vast. I mean, it goes all over. You've got one of the biggest countries in the world. And let's make it a wonderful place to live for people. Thank you now, and I'm going to say goodbye and close this thing out. And I'm sorry to get off the subject there, but somebody needs to do something with that.